Today we will start our next chapter, chapter number secondary activity. Right. In the previous chapter, you have learned the first economic activity, that was primary activity, which is totally related to the natural product, natural things. Right. Now the secondary activities. Secondary activities are those activities which convert primary products into more useful products. Right. So basically, what do you mean by industry? Industries are those activities where the processing, which is concerned with processing, fabricating, and manufacturing from natural products. In this activity, we use the natural products as a raw material and convert it into more useful product. Right. So, first of all, what do we mean by manufacturing? In short, we can say that secondary activities consist of manufacturing process. Right. Manufacturing, what do you mean by manufacturing? Manufacturing means factoring by man. Okay. So the products which are made by hands, that is called manufacturing. But if we see this term in the present day context, then we will notice that the conversion of raw material, now these days, this conversion is going through with the help of machines, not only by the hands of man. Right. So any type of conversion of raw material into more and more valuable things, that is manufacturing, whether it is done by hand or by the machines for the present day context. Right. Now, what do you mean by manufacturing industries? Manufacturing industries, these are geographically located manufacturing units where the manufacturing process is going on, and they transform the raw material into finished goods. Finished goods are those goods which can be consumed directly. Like if we are making the sugar from the sugar cane, sugar will be consumed by the consumers directly. So the sugar will be the finished good. Right. So if we convert a thing, a lot of process will be going on in this procedure, and in each and every step there will be an increment of cost. Right. So it increase the value of the product as well as the cost of the product also. These products can be sold in local or distant markets, even in the national area or in the international markets also. Right. So these secondary activity is very useful for the human beings, not only the manufacturing. Now these days we also include some of the industries in the secondary activities, like entertainment industry, tourism industries. These are also a part of industries. Right. Secondary activities, but they do not manufacture anything, they just entertain us. They tourism industry refreshes us, etc. Now there are some characteristics of large scale manufacturing. First is specialization. Specialization means in the industrial arena, there is a work which is done by some specialists. Right. So there is a skills in industry. One task is done repeatedly, that gives specialization to doing that task. For example, if there is a fabric industry, one maybe it is done by hand. So one task, the person who is perfect in stitching, he will stitch the short, and repeatedly the work of stitching will be given to that person. If there is a person who is specialized in cutting, right, by the measurement, so the person will be given the task of cutting of the material, right? So repeatedly they were given the same task because they are specialized in those tasks. So it involves, when we hire the specialist for any task, then it will involve high cost, right? So the cost of manufacturing will goes higher. Second is mass production, because the ultimate aim of the secondary activities or industries, to establish the industries, is to manufacture the products for the market purposes. When we go through with the aim of market purposes, we have to create the mass production for the mass production for the huge population. So on the mass production involves production of large quantity of standardized parts of each worker performing only one task repeatedly, because the mass production is necessary. Second, quality of production is also important. So that's why the particular task is given to the particular person, so that the quality of the product can be maintained. Second, the production could be in massive, right? Third is mechanization. When we go through with the processes with the help of machines, right? Automatic machines are used now these days to make the fabrics. Even if we talked about the shirt, like I gave the example for the specialization. If we are go through with the garments industry, there is all the work is done by the automatic machines, right? So there is a mechanization in the industries, and that's why the major production is done by the machineries, and only to operate that machinery human labor is required. So due to the mechanization, human labor is not so required or less required in the industries, but only labor is not required for the to run the machinery, even to loading, uploading, unloading the material, or and so many process required a large number of labor still now. The next is technological innovation. Time to time there is a technological innovation. First of all, when we are making the products by the hand, we make the innovations with due to the technological innovation. The machineries are there now by which we can make the product. But in initial stage, when we begin to use the machinery, it creates lot of sound, it creates lot of pollution. It eliminates lot of waste material. And to remove these drawbacks, the innovations are going on by the scientists, and the result is that it now the machineries are of such types, they create less waste material, quality can be controlled, they can combat pollution and bring efficiency. A work which can be done in 5 to 6 hours, later in initial stage, maybe it would take 12 hours, right? And now these days it can be done efficiently and in less time due to the technological innovation, right? The next characteristic is organizational structure, because the industries like take for one example to understand this point. Suppose in our school, this is also a complex structure, right? Infrastructure is also made. There is a special team, special जो है there are sweepers, peons, right? There are teachers, some clerical staffs, management also, right? So all these combinedly called executive bureaucracy and large organization, right? So when we create some infrastructure like building, benches, water supply, all these need the vast capital. You have different subject teacher specialize in their field, right? So it also create specialization. In your classrooms there are projectors, so we are using the machine and technology, right? Sweepers are given the work of cleaning, teachers are given the work of teaching the students, right? Clerical staff is there to maintain the accounts and other clerical uh, disputes, right? So there is a division of labor in each and every step. Similarly in the industry there is all these factors are available in the industry, that is called organizational structure. In an industry there is a machinery, machine and technology are used. Due to these due to the to establish the infrastructure like building, machineries, raw material, it needs a vast capital, right? One work is given to the specialized person, so extreme specialization is there. Division of labor means some unskilled labor is there for the uploading and unloading the raw material and for the transportation purposes, and some skilled staff is also needed to maintain the accounts, to maintain to manage the industry, right? CEO is there. So it needs a large organizations and executive bureaucracy. Last is uneven geographical distribution. The industries are concentrated in regions that are rich in minerals, because the industry tend to locate in those regions where the raw material can be easily provided, and minerals are mineral rich area provide a solid base for the establishment of industries, and these areas covers less become major centers of economic and political power due to the industrial advancement in these areas, right? So they however, area covered by industries is much smaller as compared to that occupied by agriculture, right? Now, there are some factors which influence the location of any industry. These can be geographical factors and non-geographical factors. Geographic means natural factors like relief, climate, market, transport, and some non-geographical settle, market, insurance, environmental conditions, industrial inertia, etc. When we want to establish any industry, then we have to look on these factors, right? Because the direct and indirect industries are connected with the cost of the material. What is the cost of our finished good? Then we can compete in the international as well as in the domestic market. So ultimately aim of any industrialist is to reduce the cost of the goods. Based on these factors, the cost can be reduced, right? So first we will focus on the some geographical factors. First is access to market. Areas that provides large markets for finished industrial goods. Mostly these are areas of developed countries because they have great demand of the industrial products like Europe, America, Japan, Australia, South Asia. All these countries have the great demand of the industrial products. Moreover, if the distance of the market is greater, then the cost of the production will be higher. So because the transportation will cost will be goes up, and the cost of finished good will be higher. So the market must be located near the industries, or the industries must be located near the ready market, so the transportation cost um, can be reduced, and it will lead to the reduction in the cost of finished goods, right? Second is access to raw material. Different industries use different type of raw materials. Some raw materials are bulky and heavy, some raw materials are very lightweight, some raw materials are perishable. So it depends upon the type of raw material where the where the industries tend to be located. If the raw material is cheap, bulky, and weight losing material like iron, sugar cane, it is very heavy and bulky material, right? So uh, the industries which use this type of raw material, they will tend to locate near the raw material. Similarly, like iron iron ore is a heavy material. Similarly, processing of dairy products. Processing of dairy products. Dairy products are perishable goods, right? So that industries related to the dairy products tend to locate in those areas where the raw material is easily available. Against it, if the raw material is very lightweight, like electronic goods or ready-made garments, they are very lighter in weight. So the industries tend to locate it, or they can be located far off the raw material. There is a term that is called footloose industries. Footloose industries. There are some industries which use the raw material, such type of raw material, they do not uh, influence the location of industry, like a watch industry. In the watch, the material, the instrument, the equipment which are used into making the watch, they are very lightweight and very small, so they can be carried to the far off the distances. So watch industry is not depend upon the bulky material based industries. Perishable goods industries, perishable goods industries, and the agriculture product based industries, they tend to locate near the raw material area. Third is labor supply. No doubt industries need skilled and unskilled labor. So where there is labor easily cheap and high quantity labor is available, industries tend to be located. Like in Bihar, Jharkhand offer huge population, they are cheap also. So industries, iron and steel industries are located to near these areas where the cheap labor is easily provided. Next is access to source of energy. No doubt, to run any industry, there is a need of energy resources. It could be a coal, it could be a petroleum, it could be a hydroelectricity. It depends upon the type of industry. So where there is a sufficient supply of energy, that industries tend to be located in those areas. As I told you, in the Bihar, Jharkhand, and West Bengal, iron and steel industry located near the coal field, because coal provides a major energy resource to the iron and steel industry, right? So the main power resources, coal, petroleum, and hydroelectricity. Now these days, natural gas and nuclear energy. If any energy resources which the industry needed, they are provided, the industries tend to locate it near the energy resources. Next is access to transportation and communication facilities. To bring the raw material to the industry and to transport the finished good to the markets, we need transportation facilities. So industries are located in place that have efficient transportation facilities and communication services also, right? Because there is a lot of exchange of money in the industrial in Asia. So there must be a perfect communication services also. The last is water. Water is an important factor for the industrial location. Some industries need a plenty of water, like iron and steel industries. For cooling the iron ore, it needs water. Like cotton industries, to fabricating, to dyeing the clothes, it needs a plenty of water. Such type of industries tend to be located near the water bodies, where their water is sufficiently available, right? For those industries, shortage of water in any area can be a serious deterrent of for locating an industry. So these are the some of the geographical factors which affect the industrial location. Now come to the some non-geographical factors which affect the industrial location. First is access to agglomeration economics. Like agglomeration economics, like one is the main center. For example, this is the main center. Suppose it is Delhi, right? When it grows, when the industrial grows or industrial growth is there, when the trade is growing in Delhi, the surrounding areas like Panipat, Sonipat, Gurgaon, all these are included in Delhi. Now it combinedly called agglomeration, right? So agglomeration economies refers to the benefits derived from the linkages that exist between industries. Like if in Delhi there is a industry which is making machineries, so to provide the raw material for the machineries, the other industries will tend to locate near the surrounding area. Maybe there can be a iron and steel industry which makes iron and steel, and that is very important raw material for the machinery industry. So the industries which provide raw material or anything to the particular industry, they tend to locate in the agglomeration economies, right? Second is government policy. To develop any area, like in our India, the Bihar, Jharkhand, these are the backward areas. Now, what our government do? They plant some iron and steel plants there so that these areas can be developed. This is our government policy. To balance the economy, government promote various region by setting up industries, because if the region have industry, the transportation facilities will be developed, communication facilities will be developed. For the workers, there will be a settlement. So slowly and gradually that area will be developed. That is the government policy for such region who those who are backward stage. Now these days the government tend to advance these areas by setting up industries. Next is capital. Huge capital investment is required for the essential growth of industries, to manufacture, to for setting the factory, purchasing the machinery, raw material, paying wages to the workers, to hire the labor, and to purchase the raw material. All these needed a plenty of capital, and the capital is within the developed countries, right? So rich people, rich countries have a plenty of capital. That's why the industries tend to be located in those regions, like in the Europe, North America. All these are the rich countries, rich continent, and the most of the countries tend to locate it in these countries. Next is environment. Sometimes industries do not grow in unfavorable environment, and sometimes they tend to shift to another area, like in the USA aircraft industry. For example, aircraft industry USA has moved to the southern western part of the country. Why the southern western part? Because it is a very hot area as compared to the northern part. And for the aircraft industry, heating is very important, and it provides natural heating, and the cost of the production will be reduced. Otherwise, the industry have to provide the artificial heating, and it will increase the cost, so that the aircraft industry move to the southwest area where the natural heating can be provided. Next is industrial inertia. Many industries remain at a particular location even after the disappearance of initial advantage. Suppose I establish an industry, there are favorable conditions, but later on, due to some changes, due to climatic changes, due to economical changes, there are changes. So initial advantages can be reduced, but availability of infrastructure facilities such as transport and services, immobile physical capital. Once I input some physical capital, some fixed capital, I don't want to move to other area. That's why the industries remained in those area. So here are some geographical and non-geographical factors which affect the location of any industry. Now the next topic is classification of manufacturing industries. For the better understanding of the industries, we classified the industries into various categories. First, we can classify the industries on the basis of size, on the basis of inputs or raw materials used in it, on the basis of output or products, means finished goods, and on the basis of ownership, right? So first of all, on the basis of size, industries size, right? So industries can be categorized on the basis of size into three groups. First is household industries or cottage industry, second is small scale industry, and third is large scale industry, right? Come to the first one. You can be asked to distinguish between any two of these: household or small scale or large scale. It is very important question. So first is, these are the smallest manufacturing unit. I'm talking about the cottage industry. The what are the characteristics of this type of industry? First, it used locally available raw material. Second, the work is done at home by the family and family members, right? So raw material is local provided, simple tools, and production is done with the help of family members. Mainly the work is done by hand. So when the production is in small quantity, then it will be consumed by the local markets or by the family members. So consumption is uh, the production is consumed by the local markets, right? So machinery, less use of machineries, surplus is sold only to the local market. Capital and transport do not affect cottage industry because market is local and machinery is not used. So capital, less capital investment, less transportation facilities are required in household or cottage industries. There are some examples of household or cottage industries like mats, baskets, pottery, jewelry, art crafts. All these can be made by the cottage industry. Now come to the second one, small scale industry. Small scale industry are those industries which hire the labor. The labor can be semi skilled or unskilled, so the labor is required and it can be hired. But in the cottage industry, the labor is provided by the family and family members. In the cottage industry, less use of machinery, and in this industry, there power driven machines are used, right? They also use local raw materials and manufacture products in workshops. So it provides employment because the labor is hired, so it provides employments and raises local purchasing power, right? So it products can be sold in the outside market, but in the cottage industry the products are sold in the local market. But small scale industry, it can be sold in the outside of the market. So many of the developing countries have small scale industries like India, China, Indonesia, and Brazil, right? And such type of industries, example of such type of industries are clothes, furniture, paper goods, electric goods, utensils, edible oil. All these industries are known as small scale industry, right? Now the third is large scale industry, where the mass production are took place. When the mass production took place and the production can be sold international, national and international market. So it involves large markets where the production can be sold in the at the international level. Many raw materials can be used, whether it is locally grown or it can be imported. Huge energy resources it needed. As I told you, the iron and steel industry, it used a coal. So huge energy is required. Specialized worker, every work is done by the specialized so that the work could be efficiently, and the product which are prepared in these industries, that must be of good quality. Advanced technology is used, large capital investment, because the production is in massive. Huge energy resources are used, specialized to give the wages to the workers, for the buildings, for the advancement technology, for the machines. Huge capital is required. Cheap and efficient labor is also required for the loading and unloading, right? Management of large scale industry is complex, right? Because the work is divided among us owners, managers and laborers, right? So all these are included in the large scale industry. This type of industries are established in the developed countries of North America, Western Europe, Russia and Japan, where there is a plenty of capital and the other factors are also available here. Examples of such industries are shipbuilding industry, iron and steel industry, textiles, petrochemical industries. Such type of industries are there. Now the second is industries based on inputs or raw materials. The various inputs are used by the industries, on which we can classify the industries. First is agro-based industries. The industries which use the agriculture products as their raw material are called agro-based industry. For example, sugar industry, it uses the sugarcane as their raw material, so which is a agriculture product. So sugar industry will be known as the agro-based industry. Similarly, edible oils, these are also depend upon the agriculture products, right? So these are also called agro-based industries. Second, the industries which use the minerals as their raw materials, like iron and steel industry, they use the iron ore. Some non-ferrous industries like aluminium, copper, they are used some non-metallic minerals also. So all these industries will be called mineral-based industry. Third is chemical-based industries, which use some chemical minerals like salt, sulfur, potash, mineral oil, pesticides or petrochemical industries are included included in this category. Synthetic fiber, plastics, they also use some chemicals. So they are used, they are known as chemical based industries. The next is forest based industries, the industries which use the forest product. Forest product like medicine industry, they use them for forest medicines plant, right? So timber, wood, bamboo, grass, medicine industry, all these are included in this category. The last is animal based industry. These industries use the animal products as their raw material like leather, woolen textile, ivory, all these, right? So these are the classification of industry. Rest of the classification we will discuss in our next lecture. Till now, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Just raise your hand and ask your doubts. If anyone have any doubt, now you can ask. Raise your hand, beta.